Hello there, my Cancer friends. Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and today I'm bringing you a very special video. For those who are not aware, I'm doing a series, one video each month for the upcoming sun sign transits for the solar return for your year ahead. And so this month we're going to be getting into Cancer, and in just 3 weeks the sun will be moving into the sign of Cancer, and all of you wonderful Cancer people will be having your solar return. And so I'm going to give you a general overview of the energy for the year ahead, and this is going to be a life-changing year for Cancers, or for a lot of Cancers, because the eclipses will be falling in your sign, and we have 4 upcoming eclipses. Some of them will actually be on your solar return date. And if you want to go more in depth into this energy, I do actually have a 2-hour video with supplemental materials and a PDF key that gives you specific dates of transits and influences that are coming up for you. It's really in depth, and especially for Cancers, this is an important year. So if you want to get more information, the link is down in the description below. But for everyone else, this is going to be a very powerful, transformative, life-changing year for a lot of Cancer sun signs, especially for those of you who were born around July 2nd, so within a few days before or a few days after, or July 16th, so a few days before or a few days after that. I would say, 3 to 4 days before or after is going to be feeling this the strongest. And that's because you're going to be having not just an eclipse impacting your sun, which is already an energy that pulls you into a fated karmic new direction when it comes to your path and your purpose in this lifetime and what it is that you're directing your energy toward. But it's also impacting the chart of your solar return. And the solar return chart is a chart that's calculated for the exact moment that the sun returns to the exact position in the zodiac where it was on the day and time of your birth. And so this solar return chart really gives a general overview of the energy for the year ahead, and anything impacting your sun on the solar return is going to have an even bigger influence than it normally would, because it's not just an influence in that moment, it's an influence that lasts as the general energy, the general theme for the entire year ahead. And for you guys, the theme for the year ahead is that your life is changing. You're going to be completely thrown into a whole new path. You're going to be connecting with your fate, your destiny. You're going to have a lot of transformative energy coming about. You might be going through major periods of upheaval and redirection. This is a time where you can come into many very fated karmic occurrences and synchronicities that are going to show up to sort of guide you in a new direction, a direction that you might not have even thought about taking in the past. It might feel very foreign and very exciting, but also you might have ambivalence toward the direction that your life is moving into, especially for those who are having their solar return around July 2nd, because it's going to be pulling you into a new direction that you've never gone into before. Maybe you've thought about it, maybe you've danced with the idea, because it is connected with your sun, which represents the soul's expression of purpose and physical reality. Maybe it's a new career path. Maybe it's a new path when it comes to your relationships or your family or your home and place of living. Maybe it's a new direction when it comes to your mindset about something really important. That you can get more information about that by going to my previous video about solar return, sun placement in the houses, and that can give you, if you have your birth time, a more specific indication of what that means for you, for everyone who's born in Cancer, not just people who are having this eclipse in their solar return. So that's really what's going on here for a lot of Cancers, and beyond just these 2 eclipses that are going to be completely life-changing. When you have eclipses in the birth chart like this, especially for the solar return, it can feel like your whole life is changing all at once, and a lot of different things are coming to fruition, and you have like weeks or months or years worth of change that comes about in your life within a matter of days, or just a couple of weeks, or just a short amount of time. It's like time and space make no sense, and things are just all happening simultaneously and lining up in a way that you essentially don't feel like you have control over, because it's all just sort of happening and coming to fruition. But what you have control over is how you deal with this energy and what you do with it, right? how are you going to embrace that change? Are you going to surrender and sort of go with the flow and allow the universe to guide you? Or are you going to resist the path that you're moving into? And resistance when it comes to eclipses tends to make things a little bit more strenuous and a little bit harder to cope with. And that's where we get this energy of people thinking eclipses are bad or evil or whatever, the mythology states, because it brings turbulence, it brings periods of upheaval and transformation. And it's not just the people who are born with those solar return eclipses that are coming up this year that are going to be having this life-changing year and these life-changing events this year. At the end of 2019, so right in the middle of your solar return year, because the solar return year is calculated from your birthday in 2019 all the way through to your birthday in 2020, you're going to be having the energy of the eclipses in Capricorn and Cancer once again coming up on December 25th. Around 4 degrees Capricorn. So people who are born at the beginning of Cancer season will be having this annular solar eclipse opposing their sun, as opposed to the ones that were born around July 2nd who are having a total solar eclipse conjunct their sun. When you have an eclipse conjunct your sun, it's an energy that it feeds energy into your sun, and it highlights your sun's energy. Whereas when you have a solar eclipse in opposition to your sun, it sort of takes something away from you. And it's kind of a reversal of that energy. So you might be going through a period of having to let go of something, as opposed to these new beginnings that are coming about with the solar eclipse conjunct the sun. And then we also have a prenumbral lunar eclipse that's going to be happening at 20 degrees Cancer, and that's going to be happening on January 10th. And so that's going to be another influence that Cancers are going to be really feeling, and this is going to bring a very fated karmic culmination point where you're going to see some physical manifestation of some events that are very fated that were started a long time ago, probably in previous eclipse cycles. The eclipses hit Cancer and Capricorn every 9.5 years-ish. So, thinking back to 9-10 years ago and what was going on around then, you might have some of those themes coming back up, and especially when it comes to 18-19 years ago and what was happening around that time period. Thinking back to then, you might have some of those recurring themes if you're old enough to remember that time period and its significance. And so that's part of what's going on here for these Cancers. And for the rest of you guys, there are going to be some additional influences that are going to be impacting Cancer for the solar return year ahead. A lot of you are already experiencing Saturn or Pluto in opposition to your sun. And this is going to be an energy where you're going to have to really, first off, when Saturn opposes your sun, you might feel more depleted. You might feel like you have less energy to project outwardly. You might feel like everything is a lot more work. You're being challenged in a lot of different ways, and you maybe don't feel like you have the energy to face those challenges, but you have to stick it out and you have to push through. With Pluto there, Pluto kind of has a different effect where it gives you the energy, it gives you the persistence, it gives you that focus. So when you feel really passionate about something, when you're connected with your deepest desires and your authenticity, then Pluto does actually help to enhance the energy of your sun in a way that can feel very intense. It can feel like you're having a bit of an identity crisis and you need to change something, you need to work through something, you need to disconnect yourself from oppressive, burdensome, controlling forces and energies that come from within and from without, especially from without, and especially when it comes to relationships with opposing forces. That's something that you're going to be working through this year. But in general, this energy, even though Saturn can make it seem like these obstacles are insurmountable, Pluto is going to give you the drive and the persistence and the focus that you need in order to push through and persevere through the challenges. And so you'll be more easily able to face things head on, even in the midst of crisis or difficulty, or just feeling depleted and feeling like there's so much work to do here. And so Cancers are going to be restructuring their lives in a lot of different ways. and this could relate to your identity. And like I mentioned before, this can bring about an identity crisis. This can change the way that you project your energy outwardly. This could be a crisis of health and vitality. This could be a crisis of career path. This could be a crisis of relationship. This could be a crisis of home and family. It again depends on where your sun is. But in general, this is you in all areas of life with the sun being impacted, really working on letting go of oppressive energies. And I say working very intentionally, because this isn't just a Pluto purge where it's just like burn it all down and start from scratch and, see what happens. It's more or less an energy with Saturn where you have to be responsible for what you've created so far and working toward letting those things go. So it's going to be a slower, more it's going to be a slower, more persistent energy where you're going to have to consistently be working on it for quite some time. It's not going to be a big upheaval. It's going to be a bunch of small little things that you're doing to change the situation and to release that oppressive energy. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Luckily though, you have Jupiter coming in shortly after, at the end of this year and through 2020, to clean up those areas, to rebuild from scratch a lot of times, from where you've cleared away a lot of old stagnant energy throughout these eclipses and throughout this energy of Saturn and Pluto opposing your sun. Jupiter's going to come in and hit everyone in opposition to their sun, and this is going to bring a lot of an insurge of energy and optimism, and this is where Jupiter will expand on the areas that you just cleared away, and so you can very quickly rebuild the areas of life that you've been working on deconstructing thus far and create a much better situation for yourself moving forward, especially at the end of this year and at the start of 2020. You're going to really be feeling that energy. You're going to be feeling like you're in unstoppable. I can see the bigger picture and broader perspective. I can see where this was all going, and I can see what I'm creating now. And so you can harness that energy to build something new much more easily, especially because you'll have so much space to do that, because you won't have the oppressive, burdensome energies weighing down on you anymore. And so that's some of the biggest energy that's coming up for Cancers. There are a few other things, and of course, if you want to get into greater detail and all of the influences that are coming up for you in your solar year ahead, you can always order my solar return forecast. The link is down in the description below. It's only $12.99, and it's over 2 hours long. It includes supplemental materials, and you don't need your birth time, which is the nice thing, because a lot of people don't have that. It relies on the birthday and on the sun specifically, not the rising sign, not any of the other planetary things going on in your chart. So you can do that down in the link in the description below. And if you have questions about what I just said, feel free to comment. I always love hearing from you guys. And this is a big year for you guys, so I'm excited for you all, because a lot of really powerful change is coming, and I hope that you're able to move through that energy and utilize it in the best possible way. So thank you again, and I'll see you guys next month. Bye.